Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm gonna make a quick video on everything that's involved today on doing a manual transmission swap on an LS. Just for people that don't know, I'm gonna make it as simple as possible. I'm gonna give you some parts lists, and hopefully, if that's what you're planning on doing, I'll try and simplify it for you so you don't have to do too much research and make your life easy. All right, so step one, you're gonna need a transmission, whatever you want. You wanna get your Saginaw, 3-speed, 4-speed, Muncie, 3-speed, 4-speed, Borg Warner, whatever you want. Depending on what you're putting it in will vary on the stuff you need. I will give you a brief description on what I'm doing. So as you can see right here, I got my 1980 Camaro up there. This setup works perfect for my Camaro. And for the most part, as long as you're running like a Z-bar type setup, mechanical clutch, this should be good for you. So to start, you get your transmission. Any small block Chevy bell housing will bolt up to an LS block. You'll have no issues there. Next, you need the flywheel and the pilot bearing. Pilot bearing's easy. You can go on Rock Auto, Amazon is usually the easiest, and you can get a pilot bearing out of any manual application for an LS. That's easy. Next, you want to get your flywheel. So, depending on what you're using, the easiest, cheapest flywheel you can buy is go on rockauto.com, 2001 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 4.8 manual transmission. The first flywheel that pops up is $69 US, and the shipping is not expensive either. That is the correct flywheel with the correct number of teeth that will bolt directly up to your LS engine, and then you can, go on the same transmission and get the matching pressure plate and clutch disc. Now, I will say that the clutch disc that goes for that, I do believe this is that same clutch disc. It has the, I think this is an 18th tooth spline, which is good for most Saginaw, Muncie, and Borg Warner transmissions, unless it's a T5, which will be like the 32 spline, I think. So then you'd have to get a different style clutch disc because the diameter of the flywheel is a little different. Will still work, but you just won't have all of the clutch disc touching where it should, and it still works. It'll get you going. Aside from that, you bolt all that stuff up to your engine, you get the transmission on, everything looks good. There's one crucial piece that you're gonna need, is this thing. So small block Chevys have a pivot ball place where the bolts to the side of the block, and then your Z-rod goes onto that and it acts as your leverage for your clutch fork. This is a homemade one. I made this homemade, so basically these two bolts where the bell housing are, bolts on, and this is roughly spaced to the exact same place as the Z-rod on a small block Chevy. I made this like 8 or 9 years ago. You can buy these now. You can get them from Scott & Dickey. I think maybe ICT has them, but this is like, if you're doing a mechanical clutch, this is crucial for that. Aside from that, there's really nothing else needed. The only thing you really need to know when you're bolting all that stuff up is the bell housing from a small block Chevy bolts directly on. You need to know your flywheel, you need that, clutch disc, pressure plate, clutch fork. The rest of the linkage stuff is probably already in your vehicle, and then you need this piece. After that, you're golden. You've completely LS swapped manual transmission in your vehicle. It's just that easy. You don't need to look any further. If you want to do stuff like T56, gets a little complicated. You have to do the whole hydraulic thing. This is actually I set this up for manual clutch because I didn't want hydraulic. I didn't want the headache of it. And I just made a custom plate where I have, it bolts onto the front. I have a shaft that goes over my input shaft for my release bearing to go on. There's a pivot ball on there. I haven't actually seen, I think there's like one bell housing on the market that you can buy for T56 that has a pivot ball set up on the inside so you can run with a clutch fork, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But anyways, I just figured I would throw that information out so you guys have to do less research if you're doing a manual swap on your LS with any 4-speed, 3-speed, old style transmission. It's super simple, it's super easy. Don't rack your head, don't buy expensive parts. Don't go on Summit and get like LS flywheel, you know, it's gonna cost you 300 bucks. You can get all this stuff. You can get like the clutch kit, the flywheel, and I think this thing is like 60 bucks or 50 bucks, you know, a couple $100, you're set up, you're good. So that'll be it for that. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I can go a little bit more in depth on how this is done. I've never done a T5 setup, so I'm not 100% sure how to do that, but any older style transmission, I used to run a 4-speed in my Camaro. It's very easy to do, and that's it. I can, if you really need the parts list, I can hook you up, but all you really need to do is go on Rock Auto and look all that stuff up, and it's right there. Order it, you're done, you're good, you're golden. So that's it for that. I won't take up too much more of your time. Hopefully this is helpful, and look for some more videos. Thanks.